Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and today Apple released iOS 13 Developer Beta 3. This came in at 687.4 megabytes on my iPhone XR, and it's basically the same size on all of these devices unless you're installing it for the first time, then it will be much larger. Now, this is available now for developers and will be available later for public beta testers, usually later the same day or the following day. However, it's not available for two different devices for some reason. Right now, it's not available for the iPhone 7 or 7 Plus. So there must be some reason behind that because it still supports older devices like the 6S Plus that I have here. And for whatever reason, maybe it had a serious bug that they couldn't work out in time. I would expect it a little bit later. Now, let's take a look at the build number. You can see the build number is 17A5522F, and this particular build brings a lot of little tweaks and quite a few bug changes. And the first thing you need to know is 3D Touch is sort of fixed, but not really. So if you have a 6S Plus like this one, and you like to push on the edge to switch between different apps, you can do that. So that's actually working in this particular beta. So it seems to work here. It feels about the same, but when you 3D press on a different icon, it feels the same as it did before. So they haven't changed that. That feels more like haptic touch, but they do allow you to press from the side. So that's really nice. And if you go to the volume slider and everything, or brightness, it's all the same. So it seems to work fine. I don't know if they'll ever bring back the same animation, but 3D Touch seems to be working, at least for certain things. Now, that side press does not work for the iPhone XS Max, and you'll see this one's restoring. I had quite a few issues with this one, so it's actually restoring, and then I can use it. And right now, there are over 66 known issues. Now, on the prior beta, there were over 100 known issues, so there's only 66 known issues right now that they let us know of, but they've resolved 40 issues. Now, out of the known issues, you might be unable to stream to Chromecast still. That was an issue for before. Also, WhatsApp is still having issues. They actually call that out in the notes. And also some banking apps are still having issues. But they've actually resolved 40 issues. And for those of you that were using the Files app in school, with schoolwork, whether that be on the iPhone or the iPad, this should now work for you. So that should help. And also, music no longer appears paused even if the audio is playing. So that should help with those having that issue. Now, there's a couple new features and tweaks along the way. So one of those is full screen screenshots. So on Safari, you can not only just take what's on your screen, but you can take the full length of the screen. So let's go to my website here. And here's my website. If I take a screenshot, we could do this before. If we go into the screenshot, now we can do full page. That is supposedly working outside of Safari now, so you should be able to do that in other apps. I haven't found one that it works in, but it is available for developers, so you can do that later on. Now, the first time I connected my AirPods to any of these devices, I noticed a new pop-up, and the pop-up is similar to before, but they changed the little icon for Siri. So now it says announce messages with Siri. We had that before, but this icon seems to be different. It's no longer a Siri icon. So that's something that's changed. Whether or not that's a new look for Siri, I don't know. I kind of like the other one better. So who knows? That could change by the time it's released. Now, also, they have a new feature for FaceTime, which is kind of interesting. It's only available on the iPhone XS, XS Max, and XR. So if you go into settings, and then you go down to FaceTime. Now, under FaceTime, down at the bottom, there is an option for FaceTime attention correction. And what it does is it says your eye contact with the camera will be more accurate during FaceTime video calls. So that's kind of interesting. People that have tested this out so far have said it makes it look like you're staring right at the camera as though it was looking right at you, even if you weren't looking directly at the camera. So I don't know how they're doing that. Probably machine learning and things like that. It should work for you there. Now, there's a new change with the Home app. So if I go into Home, everything looks the same right now. But if I 3D press or force press on a device that I already have set up, like a light strip that I have here, it's different than previous versions. So let me go into the Home app on an iPhone 8 Plus, and you'll see what it looks like. So let's go out of this. If I 3D press or force press on this, you'll see it looks a little bit different. The animation's different, and overall it looks different, so they've changed that as well. Now, the first time you open HomeKit, if you're using cameras, you'll probably see this message that says your cameras do not yet support secure recording. Some cameras can now capture and store recordings securely in iCloud, but your cameras do not currently support iCloud recording. This is a feature Apple announced from the stage and said that they would have partners for camera recording that you could store in iCloud that would be coming later on when iOS 13 comes out. So if you don't have any of those cameras, you'll see this message. Now, if I go into the Mail app and I swipe to the right a little bit, you'll see it says Archive, but Archive is now purple. It's a slight little change, and it's a purple color now instead of the blue or different colors they've used before. It may change by the time it's released, so who knows what it'll be by then. Now, in the Contacts app, let's go into that on my 10R here. If you look down towards the bottom, my emergency contact has a little star or asterisk there, so it's a little bit more prominent now. It's not a huge change, but allows you to see your emergencies really quickly. Now, if we go into the App Store, they've actually updated the Arcade tab. So if we go into Arcade, it will take just a moment, and it tells you 100 plus games coming this fall, and then gives some more information about it a little bit further down. So they've just updated this. We're getting closer and closer, and they've updated the animation in it as well. So you can check that out if you have this beta. So those are games that will be coming out when Arcade comes out also. Now, if we go into the new app, Find My, and this works on any of these devices, but if we go into Find My, we'll go over here into Find My, you'll see there's a new tab down here that says Me. And so now we have people, devices, and me. It tells your current location right here and also pinpoints it on a map. So that's really nice. I guess it's just a quicker way to get to where you are yourself. Now, if you have one of the newer Beats headphones with noise cancellation and you go into the control center when it's paired to your device and 3D touch or haptic touch on the volume slider here, you'll have a new icon down at the bottom. Now, I don't have these headphones, so it's not showing up, but you'll have the option to enable or disable noise cancellation, and it'll show up right here. So if you have iOS 13 Beta 3 or Public Beta 2, you should see that option if you have those newer Beats headphones. Now, there's a new feature that's a little bit tricky to find that has to do with headphones. So if you go into Settings, and then you scroll down to Health, we'll go into Health here, and then under Health, we go to Data Access and Devices. These Apple Watches keep pairing and unpairing, so I really don't have that many Apple Watches, but it looks like I do, and same goes with the iPhones. But if I go to the bottom, XS Max here, we'll wait for it to load, and then you'll see headphone audio levels. If I go into headphone audio levels, it shows me my levels, but if I go to privacy settings here on the top, then go to Health, then go to headphone audio levels, you'll see it says measure levels. And so it says your device does not record or save any sound to measure audio levels. The Health app measures audio exposure through the following devices: Apple AirPods, Zillow's Beats Solo 3, and Aaron's AirPods 2. And then also you can include other headphones. So it's actually seeing other devices plugged into your phone, such as a Tesla. You can include that, and I don't know why it thinks I have a Model S, but it sees that as well. So that's there, and it is a nice little feature, and you can turn that off if you don't like it. Now, if you use subscriptions on your phone, you can go into Settings. Let's go back out of all of this, and if you go into your name or profile here on the top, up at the top, you'll see it says subscription. So they've put it back in place, and it's just a little bit easier to get to. So it's more familiar, and I think that's a great place to keep it for now, and hopefully they keep it there in the future. Now, on the iPad, there are a couple little changes, very, very little and subtle. All the other changes apply to the iPad as well. But on iPad OS, if I go into a split view window where I can type, if you go back and forth, there's a subtle animation change that's there. And then also your action keys are a little bit different. So the animation's a little bit nicer, and your action keys in general have a little bit different look to them. So I think that's pretty good. Just slight design changes that they do over time. And again, it could change back when it finally releases. If you watched any of my follow-up videos, you'll know that battery life was okay for some and not so great for others. For me, the OS was so buggy that I had to stop using it because iMessage just stopped working, and that's actually why I'm restoring my XS Max. So for me, battery life was okay when I was using it. It was acceptable, but not great. You'll see it only shows 23 minutes. I was using it on my XS Max, and unfortunately all that data is wiped because I had to restore this. But as far as battery life, it's a beta. I wouldn't expect it to be great. Other than that, though, it's going to be buggy, so if bugs bother you, make sure you don't install it or you put it on a secondary device. If it's okay to deal with a few bugs here and there, then it's fine to install. Now, performance overall is actually quite good. I've been using it on not only the SE that we have here, and it's kind of interesting that it seems to work on these devices very nice and fast, and it should be quick, but it's not working on the 7 right now, so I'm wondering exactly why, but hopefully they'll fix that in the future. And you'll see everything seems to load nice and quickly. Now, I do have this on Wi-Fi, but apps open nice and fast. And you'll see it says library sync is off in music, but Apple apps open very quickly. Everything seems to work really well, and performance is not an issue from what I can tell in any of this. For those of you interested in the Geekbench scores, I did run them on all of these devices, so if we take a look, they're actually quite good. Let me switch over to Geekbench on all of them, and on the XS Max in particular, it's much better than it was previously. I have 4,820 for single core, 11,511 for multi-core. If we take a look at the history, you'll see that it's better than any of the previous versions, including iOS 13 here and iOS 12.4 betas here. So the performance is quite good and everything feels pretty fast overall. So take a look at these for reference and let me know what you've got in the comments below. Now, the other thing with this is it is a beta, so when you do have bugs, make sure that you report feedback here using the feedback tool. I know that's actually buggy for some, so hopefully it's a little bit better this time around. And of course, if there's any other subtle little changes or anything, let me know in the comments below, and I'll be sure to do a separate video if we find anything major in the future. There was also an update today for tvOS as well as Mac OS Catalina, so you've got betas for that as well, and watchOS. So let me know if you want me to do a video on watchOS and if I find anything new in Catalina as well. If you haven't subscribed already, though, please subscribe and hit that notification bell if you'd like to see these videos as soon as they come out. Of course, I'll link this wallpaper in the description as I always do. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.